Sam, I must confess, I have not been cleaned for far too long. You're sure this will... Oh, you have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
No one ever looks quite the same in person as they do in my reports. And my reports of you have been exceptionally thorough. You've had quite a career. I'm glad to hear that. This may come as a surprise, but I happen to enjoy your work. I've been keeping up with you ever since Emerald Vale. Now that was an interesting piece of work. A rundown backwater, barely worth the ink on a map. Until you showed up. You walked through Edgewater and in your wake transformed it from a loyal company town to a haven for dissidents. I'm actually a little impressed. All this happened because some mysterious stranger fell out of the sky. Not always. For the longest time, I could never be sure if you were on our side or against us. You should be back on the Hope, frozen in a hibernation chamber. Yet here you are, flying about in a stolen ship, leaving a trail of paperwork in your wake. The board doesn't know what to make of you. But I do. I've seen your potential. There's so much we can do for this colony. Then let me help you make up your mind. You have something I want. I'd like to negotiate. Phineas Wells is wanted by the board. I want to convince you to turn him in to us. He has a litany of charges against him. Vandalism, illegal experimentation, sedition. I could go on. Wells is a dangerous madman. His plan is going to endanger everyone in Halcyon. He's an obsessive psychopath. And he's using you. You're in contact with Wells. I want you to send us a tracing signal from his communication terminal. Wells was our mistake. We failed to apprehend him for years. I'm asking you to help me correct that mistake. I'm sending you my access code. Contact me from Wells's terminal. When you're done, come speak to me in my office.
Adjutant Akande's call has been terminated. Will there be anything else, Captain? Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? May luck... If you don't mind my saying, Captain, Minister Clark is lucky to have you on his side.
Sometimes I wonder about Mr. Hawthorne. What was he like? Why'd he make the computer a talkie? You think he got lonely, flying about on his own? Something on your mind?
I find myself marveling. Something vexing you, Captain?
You got a second?
If we wanted the board's attention, we got options. Piracy, vandalism, maybe some light arson.
We want to put some fear in the board, right? Get him scared of us. I want to believe you, but the adjutant didn't seem too scared of us. You just got an audience with Sophia Conde. That's the adjutant to the chairman? You sure we should be trusting her? If you think she's using us, why'd you give her the time of day? I know we're freelancers and all. We take work where we can find it. But we gotta be vigilant, you know? This is how the board gets you. A job here, an errand there. Before you know it, you're calling him sir and ma'am. Just trying to watch out for you, boss. I appreciate your time. Let's get back to it.
Hey, Cap.
Now arriving at Phineas's top-secret orbital lab.
Scanning for C2547. Grade rated contaminants. Thank you, customer. Warning! Raptidon claws carry back.
I think I'll initiate an unscheduled rest cycle while you're out.
I've kept myself busy in your absence, optimized my formula. I'm now confident I can revive the remaining colonists. All I need now is the dimethyl sulfoxide. I'll take as much as you can give me. What? Oh, yes, well, that's obvious. Anyone with 2 working lamps can see this colony's slouching toward oblivion. Why do you think we've been doing all this? I revived you to help me save Halcyon from annihilation. Hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that Halcyon's on the brink of total collapse, and the chairman's plan to save all of us is to save himself? I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but I never imagined we were already there. The board made this crisis, and now they want to solve it by freezing the rest of us? That's not a plan. That's a goddamn escape clause. That makes 2 things we don't have: time and chemicals to revive the other settlers. None of this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to revive the Hope's colonists. We were supposed to have enough time to solve the problem before we all starved. Human test subjects. Oh, that's grotesque. That's unthinkable. That's exactly what I'd expect out of the board. Damn, that's not enough. Not nearly enough for the whole ship. I could revive a handful of settlers. Maybe, possibly, damn. We're out of time. We're out of chemicals. We may very well be out of options. If the the board has their way, we're all going to be spending the rest of our lives frozen in stasis. Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? The board's going to kill them all, toss them out into space, just to make room in their hibernation chambers. No, it wasn't. We have, well, let's see, we have at least some of the chemicals. We have your ship, and we have you. That has to count for something. Do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds Earth ever sent us, uncorrupted by the board. The board's going to dispose of them all and transform the Hope into a prison for the rest of us. They're likely on their way to the Hope as we speak. We need to get to those colonists before the board. I have enough chemicals to start reviving a few of them, but no easy way to get them off the Hope. Merciful gibbering law, you're a genius! We bring the Hope to us. Skip the entire ship across the distance of colony space, right next to my lab. Yes, exactly. You're a step ahead of me, but I perceive the shape of your plan. If we link up the Hope to the Unreliable, then use your navigational computer to calculate a reasonably safe vector, we can skip the entire colony ship into the rings of Terra 2.
And that's going to work, without killing us in the process. I thought intra-system microjumps were prohibited for a reason.
Yes, there's always a risk of a catastrophic collision between the Hope and, say, Terra 2, in theory. But you'll be fine, provided your calculations are correct.
I don't understand a word you said, Doc. All I know is, if we're gonna hijack a colony ship, count me in.
Yes, excellent. I approve of your enthusiasm, young man. You should ask your captain for a raise. You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the Unreliable. Then head to the bridge. Your navigational computer, Ada, should be able to activate the Hope's skip drive. Once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab, I'll have easy access to the frozen colonists. I can start reviving them immediately. Certainly. How can I help? It wouldn't surprise me. When I pulled you out of the Hope, the board nearly intercepted me. I expect they stepped up security since my little act of larceny. Skip drives were never designed to be used within a system, but I skipped my ship across Halcyon when I rescued you, and that turned out fine, mostly. That is, I ruined my ship and nearly killed myself in the process, but the maneuver was well within acceptable margins of risk. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Unlikely. The Hope is as massive as the Groundbreaker, but compared to the rings of Terra 2, positively minuscule. The board might notice, possibly, depending on the position of their heads relative to the depth of their collective posteriors. I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The Hope is carrying some of humanity's most brilliant thinkers. Scientists, engineers, experts in their field. If we work together, we can still find a way to save Halcyon. The board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond saving. I choose to believe otherwise. If there's even the slightest chance we can save Halcyon from oblivion, then we have to take it.